Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out in the torch shop to make another marble. It's springtime in the Rockies. Beautiful weather here today. So I'm going to make a marble with a spring in it. Let's see what happens. Mismatch of air and fuel there. So I've got this mauve kind of purplish colored glass that's going to be the foundation of my spring. So we're going to jump right into a big rod and turn on the big flame. I'm going to do this as basically a compression kind of technique. And then I've got some twist cane that I made the other day, one of the other projects. It has some green, basically a green ribbon cane, but this is the experimental green, and it was striped on, so it makes kind of a stripy green cane in the finished marble, hopefully. And I'm going to start out with a flat end to our main clear rod. And this is going to be the base for our design. And the first layer is going to be gold. But in order to do gold, I'm going to try and flash it with a little silver first. These manipulated sections, so I'm going to be pressing it onto the carbon marble plate here on the base, and it tends to kind of make gold fuming difficult for some reason. It won't be even. It's got some little surface changes there that kind of reject the fume, so we'll see how this goes. I need a pretty good gather, pretty good sized flat area to work with. When you're doing a compression straight off of a solid rod, I like to have kind of a cone shape going, flaring out to a large diameter and giving it some kind of solid backing. So we first kind of build up the mass and clean off some of the funky glass on the edges, and it starts piling up. Tends to also pile up surface anomalies. Okay, we kind of get a good size chunk of glass here, and then we need that to settle down. We're going to keep it up at kind of an angle, keep that back transition to the solid rod as being kind of a steep flare. And once that's kind of settled down, try and just keep the front face. Excuse me. I'm going to press this in a couple of steps. I usually like to do this a little closer to me. I'm trying to get this in the camera, but be careful not to get tangled up with the flame there. So we kind of do one step, big fat bunch. At first I'm just kind of using the weight of the rod itself. I'm not really pressing, I'm just letting it just hang with the weight. Now we're going to press a little bit more. That's a nice big surface to draw on. So first step, I'm going to hit this pretty hard and try and cook out any random bits of carbon or whatever may have attached there. But before I do with the gold fume, I'm going to try and do a little flash of silver fume. It tends to help get the gold to stick. And I really don't want much silver. So one factor is you keep the base glass hot. Get a little bit of silver fume going. Just kind of throw it in there very briefly. Boy, it's just really hard to tell if anything's happening there. And now to get the gold to stick, you want the base glass actually pretty cold. It's not molten. Get a kind of a sharp but smallish flame. Partly it's just the geometry, trying to get this angle right to fume can be a little awkward. Okay, so try and get this gold into the candle. We just lost it. I think that little gold speck just popped off. Let's try a different one. I'll get this up close to the flame and let it kind of warm up. Get that right off of the candle. Rotating my piece in front here. Pull out of the fire and let it stay relatively cool. If I get these spots too hot, I decide not to fume very well. So it's kind of a challenging fuming situation. See, I'm still getting an inconsistent gold fume action. I like this gold to be pretty thick. Yeah, it's actually, I can see that it's doing what it tends to do sometimes. There's areas that just aren't doing it very well. But this in itself will add some kind of effect, whether it's desirable or not, it's tough to say, but keep at it here. Well, it certainly isn't ideal. It's not exactly what I was hoping for my prep step. Okay, well, is what it is. We'll move on. Now we want to find the center. Sorry about that. Find the center of this. So we'll just use clear rod here and just kind of make an attempt. That center, and then we can rotate and look at it and sort of decide, it's like, okay, the real center is a little bit off to one side there. And that's where we're going to start with our mauve colored stick here. And we'll see if we can get these angles right. We're going to draw a spiral. Carry this spiral out as far as we can. And now we're going to go through some phases to try and implode this. Be pretty aggressive here. Some heat in the background. Going to be pressing on this graphite pad, so I'll clear the space for that. So this step I'm kind of burning off the excess fume. Setting the stage, kind of superheating this. Because most of the work is going to be done with ink scorch. As soon as you start getting a little bit of an effect, you'll come in here and I'd say press it, but really I just barely want to get that started. The whole trick to these compression things is just trying to do it a little bit at a time. You do need the full face to be hot, but you're really trying to get this outer rim, get the clear glass to fold around whatever you created as a pattern on the flat face. So we'll use a little gravity. So this past weekend, Mother's Day weekend, started out Friday evening with a phenomenal aurora. Many of you were lucky enough to be out in the middle of the night. We got out about 12:30 or thereabouts, and only one other time in my life I've seen anything more dramatic. It was terms of the aurora. It covered nearly the whole sky, and there was this bizarre focal point to the south. Just some incredible pictures. And incredible that these modern day cell phones have a camera that can capture that. See the pattern here starting to develop. And then Saturday night we were in Bozeman with family, and we got out there. Didn't stay out very late. It seemed like it kind of faded by 11 o'clock or something. Probably 10:30 to 11 we were watching. And it's funny, we're all got our cell phones, looking at it through the cell phone, not taking a picture, but just able to kind of accentuate the colors and so on. But Friday night was truly remarkable. Lots of color. So these steps onto the, I can't see that. Really just a very gentle touch, not really pressing that in, just giving it a little chance to transform. Heat up the whole thing again. See it kind of blooming. So this is potentially sort of a flower pattern, but I decided to just do a simple spiral with this color, which is a new color I've never used inside it. Well, I did use this color once, and it's pretty much a white, tinted white. I did find it very spectacular. I'll add some gold fumed, and hopefully this gets a little more interesting. Start kind of hitting into the center. That's the part that really needs to start coming together at this point. See, that end is constricted down to a small point now. Now we're trying to get it to, we got to get to our cone shape. This is kind of the tricky part, but if you can just imagine you're coming in here on this edge between the large diameter and the point, I'm trying to just heat that and pull that out. Depending on what glass you're using, what color you're using, some behaves much better than others. It just varies. This is working quite well. Actually, go over here and start warming up our cone. And go with the mauve plate paddle, I guess I should say. Not so many of these to just get the end hot and try and just pull this little tip out. So now you can feel the tension where that color has been heat affected the most and kind of grumpy. So now we need a background. We have this green twisty cane stuff, so I'm just going to go straight with this cane. I'm going to try and do some random application. Come in and kind of complete some of these spaces. Branches. That's probably enough for that layer. Shaping this like not a bit as smooth, but not distort that ribbon cane too much. Very gentle. This other cane we used the other day had just a few little highlights. Roll this out smooth. And just to make sure that this is an alien-looking construction, the background is going to be orange. Don't often use orange on the background. And one thing I was thinking about is I was going to put a little bit of silver on this before putting down that orange. So we'll just break in the middle here. Add a little silver. That will kind of modify the color. I'm going to be gentle with this orange. It doesn't like to be overheated, or at least suddenly heated. I'll break away and leave a gap to fill in. Back and do some fill in. This orange is not super opaque, so make sure we come in here and add a fair amount for the low spots. Make sure we have a solid color and not too washed out. Alright, let's try that. Okay. That basically finishes off the interior design. Get this gold to do some fuming on the back. Is that the one that fell off? Probably. We'll try and find that little speck of gold on the bench. Get all done. Don't need a super tidy bench, but it's nice to have it clean enough so I can maybe pick up a lost piece of gold. Tends to roll up into a little BB. Okay. Start doing the backing here. I have somewhere down here. Got a mug. My hecklefish from Y-Files. WF, not WTF, WF, question mark. Very fun channel on YouTube. AJ does a great job exploring the strange stories, urban legends, myths. A bunch of ET UFO type stuff. Ancient aliens, all that kind of thing. He does a fun job of presenting all the crazy woo-woo stuff and then kind of breaking down what's known to be false, what's known to be made up, and parts that are, yeah, up to us. Decide what do you think. As I suspect that even that uneven cold fuming in our initial step will make some variations in that form. Hopefully kind of interesting. Sometimes in those fuming steps, stripping off the outer layer of glass from your clear rod will get rid of any of those surface issues that cause variation in how the fume wants to stick. Sure, the riding lawnmower should get out there this afternoon, but my back's a little tender this morning. Hitting it kind of hard. hope everybody watching this is healthy and happy. It's good to be alive. Life is good. We're also running our old tractor. It's about as old as I am. With the back blade, just trying to pull our driveway, the main road coming into a cluster of homes here. It's just a gravel road. A couple times a year I try and work on that to shape it up. Always lots to do. This old tractor, we went through a whole engine rebuild and replaced a number of components, and it's running pretty strong now. It's nice to use. I mean, it's still an old stinky diesel engine. It's like old tech. It doesn't burn as clean as new ones do, I'm sure. But gets her done. Tomorrow is our head up to Missoula hit Costco day. Brought lunch. Supposed to be pretty warm. I always look forward to. Oh, we just went on a road trip to Bozeman for Mother's Day, but we kind of look forward to getting up to Missoula and do a little shopping, a little fun stuff. Nice place to visit. Wouldn't want to spend a lot of time there, but when I first moved to Bitterroot Valley in '92, there was no Costco in Montana. The nearest one was Spokane, and I was committed. I was going to drive to Spokane once a month or whatever, every other month. Stock up. So I've been a member of Costco since the very early days. The company I worked for was able to, companies would get a card for all the employees, kind of a deal. And for years back then, I had a different business of my own. So you could go in on Tuesdays or Thursdays, whichever it was. And it was only for business card carrying Costco members to get in the store. And then they didn't charge sales tax. It was on you to pay your sales tax on anything you bought that should have been charged sales tax. But the assumption was you're buying these things for your business, so not for resale. Well, if it is resale, then you charge tax to your customer on resale. But they kind of nixed that after they figured out that there's an awful lot of people buying stuff just for themselves at home and not paying the taxes. So it's frowned upon for some reason. Okay, I think we got this built up. Tasty. Get that end, so let that end pull out to its friction point and the color on the inside. Then we'll come back and sort of let it fall back the other direction. Settle down before the next step. Okay, pull out some orange color to do part of the backing. It's a color I haven't used on the backing before. We'll start out just putting on the neutral line, just the tan glass. We're kind of repeating the theme here with the next color is going to be red. We're doing this all over a gold fumed orange in the background. And this hopefully comes out with a lot of orange and red kind of hues. This is dragon's blood, if any of you are wondering. Alright, this is that orange glass. Not a very deep color, but curious to see how this looks alongside the red and tan. Alright. Melt those in. Colors they melt pretty well. Okay, let's go and come out of the fire and let that set up. Okay, time to swirl. We'll do that. Pull that tail out. And tag that back in. Okay, settle down enough to put a puntee on here. to try and avoid disturbing the inner little spiral. I'm trying to use just a small flame to initially shape and condense some of this glass, so I'm not diverting excess heat to the interior of the marble. Stuff like this, the trick here is just stay in the flame. It's relatively small flame, pretty focused. Keep it right where you want it. Just kind of give it time. Don't wait till it spin too fast or anything. You'll actually have a harder time getting the heat to sink in. You actually want this diameter to expand quite a lot, really. So you kind of focus that heat right on that transition. Maybe even shift to heating behind that transition, using the angles here to direct the flow of the heat. Back to the feed-in point, taking that solid rod and melting it into the front face. And then there's a lot of glass surrounding it, so you can get the bigger flame. Build up a fair amount of excess glass so I can rip off the surface. Score this. Look away, that didn't score very well. Differential heat between the marble side and the stock rod side. Okay, this phase we can tear off a good amount of glass. Some people find this pretty wasteful of glass, but for one, the clay glass is not very expensive. It's usually way less than the color. But it's kind of akin to if you're doing woodwork and you rough cut things, and then you gotta go through sanding and finishing. So all that steps of cutting the wood piece out and so on, you have a good deal of sawdust and parts of your original wood, board, whatever that you're not going to use, and even the wood that you bought from Lowe's or something, that's already been processed, and a bunch of wood has been basically expended so that you can have your nice board. But the outside layer of the glass, just like had effects on the fuming, it's got a lot of issues, and some people may say, well, you gotta clean it, and there may be some kind of process with a pickling solution in a hot bath with ultrasonic or some crazy thing. But I think it's pretty difficult because some of that surface is just the chemistry is altered. It's not just about contaminants in the surface. It's actually the manufacturing process, and that, I like think of it in terms of an oxidized layer. It's a raw material that has, with mill steel, it has scale on it. And in fact, freshly manufactured glass has its own issues. So if all you cared about was mechanical integrity, and maybe it's already all colored up on the outside, this is not necessary at all. This is purely to get out clean glass for an optical effect. Okay. Make this crazy shape round. Step one, we'll get this front face rounded off. good bit of the work needs to happen on the back side, so once we get a nice dome on the front, now we gotta let that settle down so we can do punji transfer. So we heat this first attachment, melt it off. We're going to drop this down to hang vertically to kind of keep that other end on center. Okay, it's got a lot of heat base going on, so I'll drop this in here and just kind of horizontal, so putting a pretty good amount of pressure onto this. Punch it up. Pushing from that front clear face, and it kind of makes almost a dimple where that attachment is, and it gets looking like an apple-shaped gray, but it's kind of subtle. So once again, this is very close to the size of this 2-inch marble mold, so I'm going to switch to the smaller size. Okay, now let's see if we can get this whole back side to be consistent. Oops. So the back is completed. We're going to do a fire polish here. Yeah, I really kind of need to let this settle down. Firm up all over, inside and out. We want this base, want that core a bit more solid. These next steps, we really don't want to be messing with the core. We're just making some tweaks to the surface. Remove all trace of that punchy. We're getting closer to done. A little faster than some of my marbles have made recently. Now this step, the front face, seems to me it's kind of got a dimple in it, but it also means there's probably shoulders that are sticking out a little bit. So we do significant heat, not too crazy. Come into this from the back side, drop down, bring it up to the front face. And then we can kind of look at what happened, and it's pretty well filled in. So we kind of spin for a little bit. That's helping to chill the whole thing down. So when we go back and flash it, we're doing kind of just a plain polish now. So right now you can maybe see some little dropouts and bounces in the reflection. And we just kind of go for a serious heat, come out, let that settle in. Everybody that hung in here to watch this all, I sure appreciate it. Having fun being forced to make up some different crazy designs. Tap into my alien technology. like and subscribe if you value this content so I can keep doing more. So before going into the marble mold, the last time was really just to hold it. Don't want to leave any new marks or dents, so I'm going to take a moment here and make sure we're not going to damage it. Knock off that punchy and then just polish up that little chop mark. And that is it. Another successful marble. As usual, didn't go exactly the way I would have hoped, but all right. There she be. All right, I'm gonna go into the kiln. Say good night until the next morning when I can pull it out and see what I really did. You all have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Be kind. We'll see you next time.